Hey guys, to use my greeting from back home, hello, good morning, and bon matin. That is bon matin is South Louisiana for good morning or French for good morning. This is Troy over Charles Cards, Cars, and Comics too. And this is going to be my comic video for today. Um, if you watched the other two videos I released, should have released right at around the same time, same day or so. The first thing I did was a mail day video for cards where I opened that Merrill Kelly rookie auto, that Brandon Fott, and that Hank Aaron. Also opened 2 packs of 1993 Stadium Club and some mail from Justin over at Three Good Nerds, where he sent over some cards to help me out with my shorts from 1993 Top Stadium Club Series 1. After that, I went ahead and looked at some Hot Wheels pickups I had made over the last few weeks and ended up with opening that car there, the Gulf Car Glory Chaser, and also opened this car. 1928S Porsche Safari. But right now we're going to go ahead and do a comic, and I wanted to go ahead and I had this one waiting long before Venom, and at the very end of the Marvel Team Up. I don't know if any of you guys who do comics remember Marvel Team Up. But when they discontinued the Marvel Team Up series, and Marvel Team Up always had Spider-Man. Well, not always. I think there were a couple of times where they did somebody else other than just Spider-Man, but for the most part, it was always Spider-Man or somebody else. After they discontinued or canceled the Marvel Team Up series, they started with Web of Spider-Man. This is Web of Spider-Man #1. This is my comic. I bought this and read it back in 1985 or 86. I don't remember exactly when. And you see the barcoding, so it's the newsstand edition. It's a painted cover by C or Charles Vess, and I did really love this cover. But this comic is Volume 1, Number 1, April 1985, Web of Spider-Man. And like I was saying, and as you can see on the cover, it is the black costume. Long before Venom. This is actually the comic itself takes place after the events where Reed Richards used some type of sonic device. I don't remember exactly what happened to remove the suit, but they had the symbiote in captivity in the Baxter building, but it escaped. And right here on the first page of the comic, it shows Peter, and he's kind of getting a Spidey vibe, saying, I'm just being paranoid. That's got to be it. Just broke up with Black Cat, and that's again from 80 to 85, and I believe in a couple of different versions of the Peter Parker story, the multiverse thing, however you want to look at it. Peter actually ends up with a Black Cat, and I think he's with the Black Cat now in the mainstream Amazing Spider-Man. But you notice he's going to grab his suit, and right there in the closet is the symbiote. The story for this book was the writer for the story was Louise Simonson, who, if any of you guys collect Thor, familiar with the Simonson name, because Walt Simonson and Thor are like hand in hand, really. It was Greg LaRocque that did the pencils. But on the second page, I'm trying to go ahead and keep it where I get any more spine ticks on it, because I got a few. There you go. Shout out to Spine Ticks. If you guys aren't watching Spine Ticks on Saturday night, y'all need to go ahead and do that. Again, I'll have a link in the description for the comic, but the video. I got a couple. That's the staple there. One there, and see, you can see it in the right light. But that's one thing a comic is, good for, is getting these little bends or a tick on the spine, because there's no real spine. It's just a fold over. Actually, newsstand comics, the one thing about newsstand comics, you always used to get a bin like right around here, because most newsstand comics were put in to a rack, and then kids used to come and just grab and flip through them. And I did it even when I was a kid, before I started collecting, and you'd always get a bin right across the middle of the comic right there. But as I was saying, as far as the story goes, you'll see the symbiote jump on a hanger, change color. So when Pete grabbed it, he went ahead and put it on, and lo and behold, there you go, stuck back in the symbiote. So this whole issue is him trying to figure out what to do with the symbiote, and the villain is going to be these guys, which are actually not the Vulture himself. They're ripped off the Vulture's costume. So they throw that in. So along with trying to battle the symbiote, it's got Pete battling these Vulture guys. And see, it's a whole crew of them. One guy was basically in prison with the Vulture and learned how to make the suit. Now in Web Spider-Man 2, 3, and 4, I believe, he's again in 2 he battles these Vulture guys. But I think in 3 and 4 the Vulture actually gets out of jail and goes and starts beating up on those guys because he's basically jealous that they stole his suit and his engineering and everything. And of course they're just petty criminals. Definitely not on the same par with the Vulture. I'm not going to go ahead and reveal the end of the comic because you guys are all familiar with Venom, and Venom was actually, the next version of the symbiote and everything else. But I will go ahead and show you something at the end of the comic. As a young man, and I was in high school when I bought this book, and I was just starting to collect comics. Those of you who buy comics will maybe be familiar with the subscription thing that Marvel and DC and everybody does. They'll put a thing in the back of the book, and you can go ahead and start your own subscriptions. So I'm trying to show this without giving away anything, and I'm gonna have to do it this way. Or better yet, I can maybe put something in to cover. Oh no, that's got tape on it. I'm definitely not putting that in my book. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Oh. Part-time Ripper. There we go. That worked perfect. Right, so now I can put this in what I'm trying to show you, and you cannot see the last page of the comic. That way, if you want to go ahead and read the story, you can go ahead and pick it up. But as I was saying, a lot of times in the middle of a comic book, they'll put the subscription page where you can actually special in 1804 prices last time in 85. The first subscription 12 issues cost $6, a big $1.80. Ooh, saving $1.80 over the regular subscription price of $7.80. Now here's the best part. Each additional title you subscribe to is only $5.50, a big $2.30 savings. So man, I read that and let's jump all over it. And thus, in Web of Spider-Man #1, I have the block cut out so I could send it off to start my first comic subscription. Yay! Now the one thing is, I thought I had bought another one of these to go ahead and keep after cutting that out, but apparently I did not. So this is the only copy of Web of Spider-Man I have. If I do ever get another one, I'm gonna go ahead and get one that's direct, not newsstand, and of course it's gonna have a complete last page and not the whole. That's like basically getting a baseball card checklist that's been checked, but worse, because there's an actual hole in the page. Now granted, on the other side of this page is the view from the 10th floor, which is the mail page. Oh wow. And I'm just noticing that, but the very first letter is from Lanny Trumbaturi in New Orleans, Louisiana. And he writes, "Dear Tom, I have heard that Marvel Team Up is going to have a name change. Is this true? And if it is, when will this change take place?" So all the letters are basically from Marvel Team Up. But Tom, which was the editor, for this book. It says the very issue should, or Tom was the editor for, the Marvel Team Up series. The editor for this particular title is Jim Owsley, with Keith Williams as the assistant editor, and the editors usually answer the letters pages. But Tom said, this very issue should provide the answers to those burning questions, Lanny. So in Web Zinger's RE discontinuation, although the discontinuation of the Marvel Team Up series is irrevocable, I still wish to express my objection. I was infuriated when I discovered the news about the termination of the series. My very first collection was indeed NTU Marvel Team Up. And even today, the title, is one of my favorites. Despite the many changes throughout its history, it has still been an exciting and interesting book. Will its replacement, The Web of Spider-Man, prove superior? And that was written by Steve Watson from Dale City, Virginia, back in, of course, 1985. I don't know if the Web of Spider-Man book is still being printed, but if I remember correctly, at the time that this was printed, it made the 5th Spider-Man title. Maybe not, but I mean, you had Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe it was a little bit later when they actually had five full Spider-Man titles, but you had Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. A little bit later, of course, Todd McFarlane came in and reintroduced Spider-Man as just Spider-Man. They gave him his own book and his own title to play with. And I can't remember what the other one was. Not Marvel Tales, and it wasn't Marvel Team Up anymore. But it was, just some other Spider-Man titles, some other Spider-Man book. And back in the mid-'80s, Marvel was doing everything they could to take every penny out of my pocket. They were doing bi-monthly issues and things like that, so it was just impossible to keep up. And they were doing so many crossovers, and crossovers were horrible. I mean, it was great for storylines, but if you wanted to keep the storyline and read everything that was going on, you had to go. Let's say they had a crossover from the Web of Spider-Man. You had to get the Web of Spider-Man. Then if it crossed over to Spectacular Spider-Man, you had to get it. And then in all likelihood, they'd also cross over to Amazing Spider-Man. And it'd be not just one issue with a crossover. It'd be back and forth. So basically, to get one complete storyline back in the summer of the mid-'80s, you had to buy, let's say you're a regular collector of the Amazing Spider-Man. You had to stay with that and then get 2 or 3 copies of Spectacular, 2 or 3 copies of Web of Spider-Man, and in all likelihood, they'd throw in one where it crossed over into a Thor or a Hulk or a Fantastic Four or an X-Book. So they just had you where you were rolled over and spending all kind of money. Not to mention the bi-weekly thing where they were printing comics, twice a month. And I can't imagine what that was like for the artists and the writers to have to come up with those stories. But that's going to be my comic video for this video release. Instead of doing one long video like I have in the more recent past, I've done cards, then comics. I went ahead and split them up into 3 different videos. I just need to get them uploaded. So I appreciate you guys watching. Please stay tuned for more. For whatever you like, whether it be baseball cards, and that's all I do. Sorry, that's all I do is baseball cards. I don't actually purchase soccer, football, basketball, or any of the other stuff. And I'm, like I said, in baseball, currently working on completing a 1993 Stadium Club set. If you're in Hot Wheels, I don't hunt like I used to, but I still do land the occasional treasure hunt. Supers are a lot harder to find, and I still do a lot of other die-casts other than Hot Wheels. Like this is Johnny Lightning, like that Majorette T1 I showed. And some of the more collectible castings are adult castings with the rubber wheels and things like that. More expensive castings, I'll get those a lot to you. So if you like the die-cast stuff, again, stay tuned to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment to the videos. And stick with it, guys. I do appreciate you watching. Eventually, I would really love to break 500 subscribers and keep climbing. But until then, I'll keep making videos because they're fun for me and I do appreciate it. And I have fun doing it. So I will talk to you guys later. Tschüss.